lot of us are walking around with wounds we never asked for from the people who were just trying to survive. So how do we tell the same people who fed us, clothed us, and even maybe sacrificed for you that they also hurt you? And how do you even do that when you're not a parent yet, but you're feeling all the effects from the parenting? Let's get into it. Welcome. Humans, let's talk. This one is layered. It's not about bashing our parents. It's about honoring our inner child while trying to build better relationships with the people who raised us. Because here's the truth. A lot of us are walking around with wounds we never asked for from the people who were just trying to survive. So how do we tell the same people who fed us, clothed us, and even maybe sacrificed for you that they also hurt you? And how do you even do that when you're not a parent yet, but you're feeling all the effects from the parenting? Let's get into it. Welcome to Vibes N Affirmations, where there's a thin line between crashing out and keeping it all together. I'm your host, G, your favorite voice of reason and sometimes chaos. And today we're talking about how to have hard conversations with your parents without burning the whole house down. I set the tone with today's affirmation. Are you ready? I honor my feelings, even when it challenges the people I love. Yes, say it with me. I honor my feelings, even when it challenges the people that I love. Because healing isn't always pretty. And sometimes the truth will make people uncomfortable, especially when it's the truth about them. Let's start with grace, but no excuses. When it comes to talking to your parents or confronting them about the pain they caused, we have to start with context. And that means acknowledging the world that they came from. Our parents were not raised in an era that encouraged emotional exploration. Many of them, and many of us by default, were taught that silence was strength, that discipline was love, and that vulnerability was weakness. They weren't handed the emotional language that we now have access to, if we're being honest. Most of them were taught how to survive, not how to feel. And yes, some of our parents were emotionally unavailable. Some were strict to the point of fear. Some avoided hard conversations altogether and created a home where love felt conditional, confusing, and sometimes absent. We're not here to paint them as villains. We're here to acknowledge the full truth. They did the best that they could with what they had, but sometimes what they had wasn't enough to raise emotionally whole children. And that's where we come in. We're the bridge between what was and what could be to end some cycles. But grace doesn't erase accountability. Just because someone did their best doesn't mean that they didn't leave scars. Their version of best might have come with yelling, neglect, controlling behavior that left you anxious, angry, emotionally detached today. These talks are some of the most emotionally loaded conversations we will ever have. And for good reason. You don't want to seem ungrateful, especially if your parents sacrificed, worked hard, or showed love in the way that they knew how. It can feel wrong to bring up pain, but gratitude and truth can exist together. They can. You're allowed to appreciate the roof that they provided and still name the emotional absence underneath it. You don't want to trigger shame or defensiveness. Many parents hear critique as an attack, especially if no one has ever taught them the difference. You're trying to connect and they think you're trying to blame. That emotional wall is a defense mechanism. It can make these conversations feel like you're walking on glass. You fear rejection, or worse, being gaslit. You might worry that they'll be like, that's not how it happened, or accuse you of being too sensitive. The fear of having your life experience denied is real. That's why safety matters. Choose your words, choose your moments, and protect your peace. You're still figuring it out yourself. Sometimes you don't even know fully what hurt you until you say it out loud. You're still unpacking childhood patterns and still discovering how old wounds show up in adult relationships. And it's hard to explain pain. Bottom line, it's complicated, it's messy, but it's worth it for character development, because healing doesn't always look like closure. It looks like clarity. Even if they don't understand it, at least you do, or are trying to. And that's a powerful place to begin. Let's be real. This isn't an easy conversation to have. You're walking into a space that holds decades of memory, layered expectation, and the invisible weight of generational silence. But if you're ready to talk to your parents about how they affected you, here are some intentional ways to approach that moment. Know your why. Before you even start this type of conversation, ask yourself, what do I want from this? Are you even hoping to feel seen? Do you just want to clear the air? Are you seeking an apology, or are you just trying to release resentment? Do you want to rebuild a relationship, or simply draw a line? Being honest with yourself about the intention helps guide the tone and depth of the conversation. If you're seeking healing, lead with softness. If you're setting a boundary, be direct but grounded. But most importantly, make sure your goals is your own peace, not their validation. Clarity brings confidence. Without it, you might walk into a minefield expecting a hug, and you might get something else. And it be like that. Lead with I statement. This is important. This isn't about rehashing every argument you ever had with your parent. It's about naming the impact of the experience. The fastest way to shut someone down is to make them feel attacked. Instead of, you always made me feel small. Try. Growing up, I often felt small when I didn't feel emotionally safe at home. See the shift? It moves the focus from blame to vulnerability. If they do get defensive, because it could happen, they might not even want to hear this shit. Because let's be honest, it's like, you're probably a grown-up. Why does it matter? You're healthy. You have most likely a grown-up life by now. Why does it necessarily matter? Let me clarify. And if they do get defensive, let your clarity ground you, not their reflection. They might not get it. Let's be honest. This one is the hardest part. You might pour your heart out. You might be raw, honest, composed, and still, they might not receive it. They might deflect, deny, downplay, or shut down altogether. And while that can be painful, it doesn't make it true any less valid. You can honor your experience without needing their full understanding. Closure is an inside job. It's not always about a response. It's about the release. You spoke up, stood up in your truth, you showed up for your inner child. That's enough, whether you want to accept that or not. Boundaries do what conversations can't. Sometimes your parents aren't emotionally equipped to meet you where you are. No matter how kind, clear, how compassionate you are, they may still fall short to what you want. That's when you stop trying to be understood and start being clear about your limits. Boundaries say, I love you, but I can't keep pretending that this didn't hurt me. I respect where you're coming from, but I won't allow this behavior in my life. This topic is off limits until we can both talk about it without harm. And listen, boundaries are not punishment. They're protection. When conversations fail, let your boundaries speak for you. Sometimes we carry things into adulthood that our parents never knew left a mark. This is your chance to name it for yourself, even if you never said it out loud to them. Think about the moments where you minimize your hurt to protect someone else's feelings, or where you chose distance over honesty. This isn't about blame. It's about legacy. Whether you plan to raise kids or simply move differently in your relationship. What are you consciously unlearning? What are you keeping with pride? What generational patterns stop with you? To those who might be thinking, what if they don't respond in the way that you hope? That's honestly the real fear. Maybe they will deflect. Maybe they shut down. Maybe they say, that's the past, let it go. It's not that deep. Or worse, I did nothing wrong. Here's the truth. You can love your parents deeply and still be honest with them about the pain that they have caused you. You can forgive, not because they asked for it, but because you're ready to stop carrying that weight. You can set boundaries without bitterness. You can choose peace even if they choose denial. Healing isn't a performance. It's about a personal decision. And sometimes it has to happen without their participation, because generational trauma didn't start with you, but it can stop with you. And that alone is powerful enough. So if you've been waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect reaction, the perfect level of understanding from them, it might never come. But your peace, your voice, that's what's available now. So I urge you, speak up, even if your voice shakes, even if it's messy, even if all you get in return is silence. Because at the end of the day, you're not just doing this to be heard. You're doing this to be free. And freedom starts with truth. And you deserve that. That's it for today's episode of Vibes and Affirmations. If this hit your spirit, share it with someone who's navigating the same journey. And remember that healing isn't always easy, but you're not doing it alone. Until next time, humans, stay solid and keep vibing.